At some point I was paid by the Israeli government, by the US government, by the Palestinian Authority, and by Hamas organization. I was working for all those guys at the same time. So today if I speak with the authority of experience. It's not from the books, it's not a second-hand knowledge that I got from somebody. I don't represent government or politicians, I represent myself. I am an individual, I am not an organization. And I don't like to take sides, because I don't belong to nations. I don't belong to the crowd. I have transcended this long time ago. But the Jewish nation is dear to me. And when I see nations unifying against the Jewish people, it hurts. Because at some point, I thought the Jewish people were the enemies of humanity. I thought that they were the enemies of our people, the Palestinian people, until I came to experience what the Jewish nation really is through intelligence service, through witnessing the true democratic model in an ocean of darkness, the only light in the Middle East. And I wonder, people here in the free world who think that they are free, unifying against Israel, attacking Israel, isolating Israel, boycotting Israel, BDS and all this hypocrisy. Of course, hypocrisy coming together with political correctness, because it's the same. Two faces for the same coin. In the Muslim society, I witnessed a woman who sent 5 of her children to die in suicide bombing attacks, one after another. She would put this explosive belt on them and bless them and say, go kill the Jews.
You are welcome to the End Time Truth Television, the channel for the lovers of truth, for the truth of the end time. So if you are a lover of truth, give us a subscription and God bless you. Shalom. Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I bring you greetings in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Now this video will be first of the series on this the conflict between Israel and Hamas that is about 8 days old now, thereabout. Now, but what I want to show you here now, you may have seen it, you may not have seen it. But then, apart from the awareness I want to create and the foundation I want to lay with the son of one of the founders of Hamas who found Christ, along the journey of his work. He has worked for Hamas, he has worked for the Israelis, he has worked for the Palestinians. Now, but the boldness of the guy and his fearlessness to stand for the truth epitomizes the truth and the fact that the righteous is as bold as lion. Now there are several videos of his that I'm going to play to you for you to see. One of them happened to be oh my God, you need to see this boy address the United Nations and the reactions of some of the people who spoke before him, and immediately after he finished speaking, now everywhere went quiet. Now, but the joy I have in this is that Christ can never be chased out of the surface of the earth. Now, for a boy that was born and groomed from early age into, for terrorism, for him to have found Christ and believe in Christ and denounce religion. Listen, I maintain that Christianity is actually not a religion. You can classify it as one of the religious organizations, but Christianity is beyond religion. But that is not what we are talking about here. And in fact, he himself said something like that. Before I come, with the story of the journey of his conversion, I'd like you to listen to him, address the people here. Like I said, there are about 3 videos of his that I will play. But here is the number one, the first one.
I was paid by the Israeli government, by the US government, by the Palestinian Authority, and by Hamas organization. I was working for all those guys at the same time. So today if I speak with the authority of experience. It's not from the books, it's not a second-hand knowledge that I got from somebody. I don't represent government or politicians, I represent myself. I am an individual, I am not an organization. And I don't like to take sides, because I don't belong to nations, I don't belong to the crowd. proud. I have transcended this long time ago. But the Jewish nation is dear to me. And when I see nations unifying against the Jewish people, it hurts. Because at some point, I thought the Jewish people were the enemies of humanity. I thought that they were the enemies of our people, the Palestinian people, until I came to experience what the Jewish nation really is through intelligence service, through witnessing the true democratic model in an ocean of darkness, the only light in the Middle East. And I wonder, people here in the free world who think that they are free, unifying against Israel, attacking Israel, isolating Israel, boycotting Israel, BDS and all this hypocrisy. Of course, hypocrisy coming together with political correctness, because it's the same. Two faces for the same coin. In the Muslim society, I witnessed a woman who sent 5 of her children to die in suicide bombing attacks, one after another. She would put the explosive belt on them and bless them and say, go kill the Jews, to gain respect in her society. This is hypocrisy. My father disowned me because he's a hypocrite. On a personal level, he's a loving father. But when he puts the Hamas mask that he cannot exist without, he's a monster, he's something else. And this is the problem with that society conditioning, that if you take individuals on the side, they're just human beings like us. Any of us could have or have been brought in that environment, would be conditioned in the same way. The human condition does not differentiate between an Arab or a Jewish person. But the collective mind of the society is representing something. Is representing an ideology, a culture, a state of consciousness that calibrates in darkness, that calibrates in the 7th and 6th centuries, ruled by tribal lust for power. It have not changed, or it has not changed. Muhammad, and I know that I've been told by people here not to say this, so it does not look like the Jews are going against the Muslims, but we cannot fool ourselves. There is an Islamic problem. Al-Qaeda, Hamas, Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, ISIS, Boko Haram, all of them are killing by the name of Allah. They're not killing by the name of Jesus. They're not killing by the name of Jehovah. They're not killing by the name of Mahavira or the Buddha or Lao Tzu. They're killing by the name of Allah. There is an Islamic problem, and I think humanity needs to stand against this danger, because this danger is not only against the state of Israel. This danger, thank you. This danger is against the evolvement of mankind. Political correctness. I don't know if there is any CNN reporters or representatives here tonight. You know, political correctness, when my friend invited me to his wedding and he asked me to wear a tuxedo, and I thought it was a speech. There is a big difference, right? That would have been politically incorrect. But when it comes to matters, universal issues, when we see waves of violence and darkness taking over and spreading, and we choose to stick our head in the sand with the name of political correctness, the truth is that we are afraid. And we are trying not to provoke them more. We are trying not to create a religious war. But there has been a religious war, whether you like it or not. The better way is to face it, to grow up and face it with courage. This is what I say. The problem is not in the individual. We are not against the Muslim people. I cannot be against my mother and my father and my people. They're just people. And there are idiots everywhere in every nation. But I'm talking about the collective consciousness of nations, of regions, and the cosmic consciousness of all humanity. The Muslim people have a problem, and their problem is in their belief system. They have to face it, and we need to encourage them to fight the good fight, as I did. If I was able, you know, I had privileges as the son of a top Hamas leader. I had something to lose. But the average Muslim don't have lots of things to lose. They're already living in darkness and misery. If they leave it, it's better for them. When I left, I did not leave misery. I left privilege. I left position. I was paid. I was protected. Everybody wanted me to stay wearing the mask. I am a living example and a challenge, and I will continue to be to every individual who live in the Muslim world, that this is the time to grow up, to destroy the walls, and to transcend the conditioning of the society.
Now, this other video that you are going to watch here, will tell you more about his conviction, as in what he decided to do with his life. And I understand. I've listened to so many people, even Nigerians, and even during the last regime, there was when there was a voting by nations, for and against Israel, and the Nigerian government also voted against Israel when Jerusalem was declared the capital of Israel. Somehow, the picture that have been painted about Israel and what is happening there has been enough to make even people that don't know anything about the region to conclude that Israel is in the bad. Now, and this is there is so much semblance between this and a true child of God that is in the midst of unbelievers. And it is very, very easy for a child of God to be hated, not because he is evil, not because he is bad, but because some persons have been able to, paint them bad, or to paint him bad. Maybe take, for instance, that you are in a place where you are in an establishment and you happen to be the only person that would want to set the standard of righteousness in that place. By this, I'm not actually saying that Israel had been righteous, but it is about the misrepresentation of the nation Israel to the outside world there that made it look like there is a kind of conspiracy against Israel. And even the outbreak of war recently, this attack, there is the belief that Russia is behind it. And there are so many other nations of the world who are against Israel. Now, but if this son of one of the founders of Hamas is the one speaking and telling you what he experienced, I know there are some persons here also who will come to say that he worked for Israel for money. But actually, he said he never worked for Israel for money. If you need his story, you will understand that what formed his belief and his behavior and the chapter he charted for his life was what he experienced watching the leaders of Hamas deal with their own people, and also watching some persons from Israel deal with the same issues in a different way. And so his fear was, what if there was no Israel? What would the leaders of this Palestinian nation do to their own people? Now, I was saying something. Now, let's take, for instance, I've always, used this analogy, that you're in a place where you will clock register whenever you come in and you put down the time you came in. And maybe everybody is supposed to report to work at least latest by 8 a.m. And you came in by 7:50. Now, the person before you, both of you came in the same time, but that person wrote 7 a.m. in order to make room, to create room for other people that will come after her. But you know that all of you came 7:50. Now, she wrote 7 a.m. And you came in, you know she lied, but you put in 7:50. Now, you know that anybody who comes by 8 a.m., cannot write 7:45, cannot write anything lower than what you wrote. So it has not created enough room for people to lie. Now they have noticed that is what you do every time. It is going to create some kind of hatred. There will be a kind of gang up against you. That is just basically normal, and that is what humans do. Now, and sometimes it gets you into trouble because everybody will stand against, everybody will witness against you. Every other person is going to rise against you, and sometimes they will even lay allegations against you, to the management. And sometimes it may even earn you some kind of query, and if care is not taken, you may be sacked. Now, sacked for what you never did, for an offense you never committed. Now, this is the kind of a thing I feel is happening between Israel and Palestine. Now, nations like Korea, like North Korea, and Iran, Venezuela, and so many other nations, as you will hear them speak now, believe that Israel is the problem. But you will be stunned. You will be shocked to see the reaction of the people. In fact, you are not the one to be shocked. The people there are shocked. Let me not speak so much. Let us look at what's happened here.
Israel, the occupying power, continues with its colonial policy and its daily violations. It continues to abuse, to arbitrarily detain, to carry out ethnic cleansing, steal land and natural resources, uproot trees, steal money, Israeli activity to Judaize Jerusalem, demolition of homes, confiscation of land and property, spoiling of natural resources.
Racist violations perpetrated perpetrated by Israel.
Israel continues to commit various forms of human rights violations in Palestine.
Israel, the occupying power, is advancing in its efforts of mass colonization and continued apartheid to put an end to this colonialist regime.
Apartheid, atrocities and massive destruction inflicted on the Palestinian people.
War crimes, crimes against humanity, ethnic cleansing, and state terror.
Thank you, United Nations Watch.
Shukran, Sayyid Rais. I take the floor on behalf of the UN Watch. My name is Mus'ab Hassan Yousef. I grew up in Ramallah as a member of Hamas. I address the words to the Palestinian Authority, which claims to be the sole legitimate representative of the Palestinian people. I ask, where does your legitimacy come from? The Palestinian people did not elect you, and they did not appoint you to represent them. You are self-appointed. Your accountability is not to your own people. This is evidenced by your own total violation for their human rights. In fact, the Palestinian individual and their human development is the least of your concerns. You kidnap Palestinian students from campus and torture them in your jails. You torture your political rivals. The suffering of the Palestinian people is the outcome of your selfish political interest. You are the greatest enemy of the Palestinian people. If Israel did not exist, you would have no one to blame. Take responsibility for the outcome of your own actions. You fan the flames of conflict to maintain your abusive power. Finally, you use this platform to mislead the international community, to mislead the Palestinian society to believe that Israel is responsible for the problem you create. Thank you.
All right, so before I show you the last video, the interview, I want to, just briefly, his story is there on the internet, but here is what he said about his conversion into Christianity. According to his story, Yousef met a British missionary in 1999 who introduced him to Christianity. Between the years 1999 and 2000, Yousef gradually embraced Christianity. In 2005, he was secretly baptized in Tel Aviv by an unidentified Christian tourist. He left the West Bank for the United States in 2007 and lived some time in San Diego, California, where he joined the Barabbas Road Church. In August 2008, Yousef publicly revealed his Christianity and renounced Hamas and the Arab leadership, thereby endangering himself and exposing his family in Ramallah to persecution. Yousef has also claimed that his aim was to bring peace to the Middle East. He hopes to return to his homeland when there is peace. Yousef has stated that despite his conversion to Christianity, he is against religion and does not adhere to any denomination of Christianity. He has stated, "Religion steals freedom, kills creativity, turns us into slaves and against one another." Yes, I'm talking about Christianity as well as Islam. Most Christians I have seen seem to have missed the point that Jesus redeemed us from religion. Religion is nothing but man's attempt to get back to God. Whether it is Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, animism, any ism, religion can't save mankind. Only Jesus could save mankind through his death and resurrection. Jesus is the only way to God. Oh, brilliant, 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 brilliant. I think I've got to applaud this guy. Got to applaud him. See, Christianity is beyond religion and is about Christ and him alone. This is beautiful. It's about Jesus and Jesus alone. My God. See, all these things that we practice, all these things that we kill ourselves, and when you stand for the truth, you condemn evil. Some religious people who are filled with religiosity would almost want to kill you. That is exactly what we're saying. But then, that is part of it. Anyway, that is his story, the brief story of his conversion to Christianity. Now, I do not know if you noticed at least the reaction of the first man that looked back when the guy introduced himself. Now, you cannot love me more than I love myself. He introduced himself as a member of Hamas, and the man turned. And the next thing, the things that proceeded out of his mouth stunned the entire congregation. I know there is something you cannot do against the truth. You cannot argue against the truth. There is no discussion, that you can have against the truth. The truth stands the truth. Now, the entire hall, was stunned. everybody, they couldn't find their voice. Even the Palestinian representatives that were in the hall couldn't do anything against that. Now, that is one thing about righteousness. I mean, boldness to stand out for the truth. Now, say the truth all of the time, irrespective of what happens. Now, like I said, he epitomized the truth of the gospel of the scripture that says that the righteous is as bold as the lion. Now, without wasting too much time, listen to his interview, and I will leave you at this point in time. Let me know what you think about the video in the comment section. For me, Israel needs prayer. Israel needs us to pray for them. I've seen a prophet saying that we should leave Israel. We should not pray for Israel. We should pray for Nigeria because a lot of evil is happening in Nigeria. Israel is at war. That is good. Ukraine is at war. That is true. I mean, that is true. Not that is good. That is true. Now, we are not at war here, but we are worse than those nations at war. But at the same time, if you have watched the footages of children, both the Palestinian children, the old men and the young women, being hurried into a vehicle, and you see some that have died in this, you can't help it but weep for this wicked world. There is nothing good in this world. Humans have destroyed the good world that God created, and looked and observed that everything he made was very, very good. But the lust of the humans that God created, who corrupted themselves and corrupted their ways, has had a negative impact on the world that God has made. Let's know what you think about the video in the comment section. God bless you. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Till then, from me to you, shalom.
Joined now by Musab Hassan Yousef. He's the author of Son of Hamas, and he joins us live. Your father was a founding member of Hamas, and you were groomed to take a leadership position. Eventually, you converted to Christianity, rejected their political and military objectives. Why did you do that?
Well, for the simple reasons that right now in Gaza, that Hamas does not care about the lives of Palestinians, does not care about the lives of Israelis or Americans. They don't care about their own lives. They consider dying for their ideology a way of worship. And how can you continue in that society?
Okay. I'll ask you the same question I asked my last guest. Can you coexist with someone whose mission is your destruction?
Hamas is not seeking coexist and compromise. Hamas seeking conquest and taking over. And by the way, Israel, the destruction of the state of Israel is not Hamas' final destination. Hamas' final destination is building the Islamic Khilaf, which means an Islamic state on the rubble of every other civilization. These are the ultimate goals of the movement.
Musab, you say in your book that Hamas targets civilians as a tool of war. Tell us about the Hamas that you know from growing up in the West Bank.
Well, in the most, Hamas, without shedding innocent blood for the sake of the ideology, we won't be able to build an Islam. They were preparing us from the age as young as 5 years old. This is the ideology that was feeding us. And honestly, it's impossible almost for anybody to break through and see the truth of and real face of Hamas, be able to leave at some point. As you see in my case, I had to lose everything, say no to Hamas. And today when I look at the children of Gaza and I know what they are fed, I know that they have no choice.
Musab, thank you. Appreciate you joining us. Next time we'll spend a little...